Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Chaos Child. And so, I peeked at the guide. Luckily, it doesn't tell you anything except for how to get the other endings. So, like, no secrets or anything spilled there. But I did notice that I actually have two different guides ready to go because I'm not sure. One of them's better than the other, but the other one's better than the first. Like, I don't know. Anyway, they're each their own individual thing, but they might help us down the road when we're trying to get the other endings. But it seems like the other routes kind of split off earlier than this, so that makes a little more sense. Somebody might have said that in the comments, but again, I've gotten this far, and I think only like the first 3 episodes have posted. So, by the time this game is going to be basically done, finished recording before anybody leaves comments on things. So, I mean, there you go. But yeah, so the other routes kind of split off before. So I'm kind of curious. I'm wondering if they change things too, because like our delusions change reality. So interesting. Anyway, we ran away from Frisia, so panting. I hadn't run that far, but my muscles were starting to scream. I couldn't stop moving. Things in front of the train station were the same as ever. Nobody noticed me. There was a picture of my face out there, right? So why didn't anyone notice me? I didn't understand. Had it all really happened? Or did everyone here not know what happened yesterday night? Gah! I have to get back. I have to get back to Aoba dorm. The police were The police were at Aoba dorm ripping apart the place I loved. They decided I was the killer and they'd even search Nono's room? Why? That night I'd asked Shinjo to let me take Nono's body to the hospital. My memory's cut out after that and I can only remember a few things. I remembered being taken to Frisia and screaming and sobbing there. And then, that's right, that's when I'd heard the news that I was wanted as a person of interest in the case. God damn it! Damn it! Mimose had given me something to drink and some medicine. It was probably a sleeping pill or something. To calm me down. To keep me quiet. I didn't want to sleep. Because Kurusu, the one I loved, was dead. Again, it kind of just bothers me that keeps... I love her! Where the fuck did that come from? You just... Gabe, you can't just shove that down my throat without there being some kind of realization beforehand. It was very much like, she's my sister, she's my family, now she's my lover. What? No. No. I don't agree with that, but... And it was Sarika Onoe, my childhood friend, who'd killed her. How could I sleep? But I spent the whole day on the sofa asleep. Drugs will do that to you, though. We're panting. Okay, I can't keep panting. They do this a lot, like, It's a lot to do that. Anyway, I ran. I was too tired to run straight, but my body was heavy, like lead, and wasn't doing what I told it. But I kept running. No one noticed me. Why are you walking around like everything's normal? Why are you smiling and shopping? What the hell is wrong with all you people? A warrant? What the hell? Why would I kill Nono? I staggered, tripped, and fell. I must have skinned my knee because it started to feel like it was burning. Once I fell over, I couldn't get back up. It was all I could do to roll over, and then I realized that I knew this place. I looked around and shivered. This was the place. This was the place where my best friend had carved my little sister into tiny little pieces. I felt a sudden, strong urge to vomit. Was it because I'd been running for so long? Or was it because of my memories of this place? What the hell? Why the hell would I come here now? I thought I'd been running the right way. but I was in such a hurry that I'd taken a wrong turn. If this was some kind of trick that God was playing, the hell was he bringing me here for? Was this his way of telling me that I could go back to that night and reset everything? But that was impossible. Is it, though? With every passing hour, things got worse, and there was no changing the past. It's kind of funny that that comes up, though. Because you're like, you kind of can. After you finish the common route, then you go and you kind of can because we choose and we go down different paths, which might change the outcomes. God damn it all. I punched the ground with my full strength, not caring about the pain. It's funny that's a self. Again and again. My hands wouldn't stop. I wanted to destroy it. But did I want to destroy the ground or my hand? Or maybe myself or the way I was feeling? God damn it all! Are you alright? I suddenly heard a voice. I looked up and saw two boys about college age. Are you not feeling well? Suddenly the look on one of the boys' faces changed. He stepped back and dragged the other away. What? Shit, dude! What are you talking about? That's Takuro Miyashiro! Huh? I stood up in surprise. I had no idea who these people were, which meant that my photo really was on the internet. Gah! I felt a sharp pain in my stomach when I stood up. It took me a second to realize I'd been kicked. Rude. The hell are you doing? Huh? He's that serial killer, right? Don't worry. No way a wrinkly wimp like this is gonna beat me. Hang on, I'll call the cops. Don't even bother. Ow. Something hard hit my face, my shoulders, and my stomach again and again. I wiped the blood coming on my nose with my arms. This is the time you fight back. I couldn't keep my eyes open. What's wrong, murderer? He started to get excited and yell as he kicked me. I opened my mouth to tell him he was wrong, just as he kicked me in the stomach, and drool and vomit came pouring out. Gross. Stop it. Why is this happening to me? I heard the sound of shattering glass and the impact stopped. Again. I didn't see his thing, I just saw his sprite, you know what I mean? Hey, you little shit! What do you think you're doing to my friend, huh? Gen's voice is all over the place, but he's drunk sometimes, so, you know, it makes sense. You okay, Taku? Gen took me by a quiet, lonely route to his fortress, Miyashita Park. Of course, the police had come to the park in droves as well, but Gen and the other homeless had told them nothing. Of course not. My country does not abandon its comrades. Thanks to them, the cops didn't even know which trailer house was mine yet. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to come here. Felt like a long, long time since I'd come here, even though it hadn't been that long at all. The two boys who'd attacked me must have called the cops, because I could hear sirens going by in the distance. This place probably wouldn't be safe forever, either. You know, Taku... Ken took out another bottle of liquor and started to sip from it. Ken fell silent. He looked at me like he was trying to work himself up to say something, and then he looked away and took another drink. I'd never seen him like this before. I wrapped my arms around my aching body and waited for him to speak. And after a long time, I heard about the lady. Oh. A pain worse than the one from my injuries ran through my whole body. The news wasn't talking about anything else, so it wouldn't surprise me if Gen knew about it. I can tell you ain't the killer. I'm of noble blood after all. But you know, Taku, is she really dead? This time, I could hear what he was trying to say. Was Nono really dead? I mean, it's literally what he said, so... I sat in the familiar RV, asking myself the question again and again. Gen took sips from his bottle and waited for me. Yeah. I didn't know how long it took me to do it, but I slowly nodded. Nono is... gone. I looked down, feeling like I'd admitted to some horrible, unfixable mistake. Why?
She's one of those people who deserves to be happy in life.
I couldn't lift my head at all, but for some reason I didn't cry. Darkness falls. We'll have to get contacts, dye our hair. It's going to be a lot. The sun set and another hour passed. I never did make it back to Alba dorm. Gen's friends had told me that the police were watching it and it was impossible to even get close. I tried to go anyway, but Gen took a gulp of liquor and said this to stop me.
You know, Taku, if you get arrested now, you lose. Isn't that gonna be what makes the little kids waiting for you cry, huh?
Lose. And then I remembered what I'd been thinking the last time I was in this room. It was like the killer was a player in a game, challenging me. That player was, though I still couldn't believe it, my childhood friend. I kept losing to every move she made, and she'd stolen the people I'd cared about. What if I'd been able to win the game? This whole nightmare, it never would have happened, right? Ken, sorry, but I need your help with something.
Sure thing, but it costs money to hire me. I'll put it on your tab so you can pay me once it's all done.
Ken gulped down the last of the alcohol from his cup. I went with Gen and a few of his friends to a certain condo in Daikanyama, deliberately choosing the routes with the least amount of people. We passed by police officers several times, but because of Gen and the others, no one suspected me. Yeah, they're just ignoring the poor, drunk homeless people.
Is that the place?
Yeah, just let me get inside. I can do the rest myself.
Sure! Make it quick!
This way. Oh, this was Sarika's house. It was where I was heading the night I'd lost Kurusu. I'd come here a few times, though not often. When I just left Alba dorm and gone to Miyashita Park, I didn't know how to get food or do my laundry, and Sarika had helped me out. I'd used her shower and sometimes even stayed the night. Of course, nothing had happened between us. I looked up and saw that the lights were off. There was no sign of any police or detectives. And where are her parents? You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Okay, let's go. I took Gen inside and left the others behind. I went to Sarika's room and used my powers to open all the locks. I'd taken Gen with me because I couldn't real boot my power on its own. Gen's eyes had gone wide when he'd seen the door open, but all he said was,
Guess I must be drinking too much.
Thank you. You can go home now.
Sure, take care.
Gen patted me on the back and left. Once I'd watched him go, I went inside. I tried to sense if someone else was in the room before I turned the lights on. And there was no one there, including Sarika. Once I was sure I was alone, I turned on the switch. But again, she's obviously not an orphan, so where are her parents? Did they say that? Did they say that they were, traveling or something? Or, It was a normal room. If anything, it was a little more grown-up than you'd expect from a teenage girl. The room wasn't especially messy. Shinjo and the others had supposedly come here once, but they hadn't ransacked the place in their search. Where did you go, Onoe? Momose had said that they'd found nothing here to indicate where Sarika had gone. See, this doesn't... seriously, it doesn't look very... it looks like a man's apartment. If she lived with her dad, this is my apartment, you can do whatever you want with your room, dear. But it's very... It's got masculine energy, it's like a bachelor pad up in here, so... Huh. I'm just saying, maybe this is the swanky life we want, and Sarika's just a figment of our imagination. And we don't know that this is actually where we live. I'd come here because I wanted to know what Sarika was really after. But what was I supposed to do now? And when I did find Sarika, what would I do then? Ask questions? Kill her and then actually become a murderer and then get arrested for the crimes that she committed? And if I did, what kind of answers would satisfy me? Probably none. What kind of answers would be good enough? Satisfied? Good enough? See what I mean? This is basically Your rich-ass dad decorated this place. I suppose it could just be a rich-ass couple. You know what I mean? But it's got more of a masculine kind of energy to me. Like, it's a rich dude's apartment. Like, I'm just saying. It's interesting. That was impossible. I turned on Serica's computer without even being sure what I should be looking for. Again, we don't mention she lives here alone. How? We were sick and injured. We were injured, so we had to have like somebody take care of us. That's why the doctor took us in. But even still, they wouldn't be like, "Oh, there's a bunch of orphan kids." Well, she's fine to live on her own. Maybe her parents would have, but like I'm just saying, they never mentioned parents. They never taught like. It is also weird too, because like Ito's parents don't exist. They're not worried the fact that their son was like a murderer either. I mean, I'm just saying. That's not as important. You know what I mean? Like, okay, Ito did the thing with the mind control. Okay. And you put that aside. But the Serica thing, like, why does she live alone? Why does she have no parents? I'm just saying. It's either the game was like, whatever. It's something, traveling, whatever. Or it's because she ain't real. I opened each file I could find and looked inside. Nothing. None of the files were important, just like Mimosa had said. There was a folder marked Newspaper Club that was filled with information about the case, but it was all stuff I'd already seen at school. That's right. What about the drawers? And she's pissed off. Oh my god, this is like... She's coming after us because she's pissed off. She's a figment of our imagination, and like... She's not the most important figment of our imagination. You know what I mean? You made me real. Now I'll kill you. It's like the fucking Star Trek episode with the holodeck, and they make Moriarty, and they make him an opponent worthy of Data, right? And so, like, then he figures out that he's a hologram, and then, like, all this shit, and then, like, oh my god. It's just that. That's what it is. Oh my god. If it's seriously, if she's real, I'm gonna be disappointed, but I pulled open one of them. Well, I flinched back when I saw what was inside. And again, though, how can she, if she is a psychic, how can she stand the look at the sight of these? Sumo stickers. And not just one or two. There were tons, and all of them were the real 11th Rorschach. Here's the thing again. The cops supposedly came in here. They didn't see all these stickers and go, I don't know, that makes her look a little sus. Really? What are these doing here? I barely managed to look away before my vision dimmed and I passed out. When the stickers disappeared from my field of vision, I forced myself to take control before the horrible delusions overcame me. Sweat beaded down my forehead. I quickly tried to shut the drawer, but then I heard a metallic sound inside. I rummaged through the drawer with my hand, taking care not to look at the stickers. I touched something hard and flat. I pulled it out and quickly slammed the drawer shut. What is this? My phone? It was my phone. Okay. What did I say? I said that in like the last part or whatever, right? That I was like, she could have picked up our phone. Our phone is purple. How cute. She could have picked up our phone. But then I was like, but then Yuki said she picked it up and put it back. So then it was like, oh, okay. Because I was thinking at the time, like, we drop our phone and then Serica had grabbed it when we weren't looking and we were trying to run. But Yuki would never have seen it then. You know what I mean? So Serica obviously went back for it. Or something. Interesting. Anyway, it was my phone. And not the new one I was using now. It was the one I dropped at AH Tokyo General Hospital and never found after that. I fearfully turned it on. And I saw the picture I'd set as my wallpaper. It was the photo I'd taken with everyone. I'm wondering if... Because, see, that's the thing with, like, the... You know, going to Ito and being like, kill this girl. You know? Hands on the wall! Slowly! Suddenly the door opened and I heard the click of a gun cocking behind me. A click of a cocking gun behind me. I almost turned around, but a low voice told me to stop. Don't try anything. Do what you're told. Okay. Oh no. That was definitely a cop. Was I going to be arrested here? Not if you knock him out. If I was, that'd be the end of everything. I wouldn't be able to escape no matter what excuses I tried to make. Yuto, Yuki, Dad, I'm sorry. I won't be coming home. You're a gigalomaniac. If you use your powers, you can escape easily, a tempting voice said from somewhere in my mind. Hold. Sneeze came out of nowhere. But if I ran, it would mean I was the killer. If it ever went to trial, it would look bad. Not if you...
And it's okay to just kill him, Taku. There aren't any witnesses here.
I heard a voice I recognized in my head. Was I hallucinating from exhaustion? Or was she using telepathy? Or she's just living in your head. What are you doing here? Huh? The man I thought was a police officer suddenly sounded surprised. Miyashiro? Is it Shinjo? Huh? There was only one then that I realized who it was. I twisted my upper body to look at who was behind me. Okay. I was just giving, because it's just a man, and I was just giving him a normal voice, like just a regular dude voice, and then he's like, wait, and I'm like, oh. At first I thought maybe it was going to be Shinjo, and then I was like, no, it's obviously just a regular cop that was there. Okay, so never mind, it was Shinjo. Hold on. Shinjo? It's you, Miyashiro. Shinjo... I almost collapsed from relief. Shinjo put his gun away inside as he walked over to me. Okay, so, like, the cops do carry guns. I'm just saying, maybe in Tokyo they do? I don't know. I thought most cops in Japan didn't. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's always the same thing with you, isn't it? You worried me. He made a fist and booped me on the head. Aww. Stepdad. I mean, we have Doctor Dad and Cop Dad. He's Cop Dad. Okay. Ow. I didn't know what to do when I got the call from Amose. Where have you... Huh? He stared at my face. How did you get hurt like that? Oh, this is... I explained what happened this afternoon. I see. Shinjo sighed again. You know the situation you're in, right? You shouldn't be going outside. So, what are you doing here? After a long enough pause that Shinjo started to get suspicious, I answered him honestly. I don't know. What? I was planning on looking for her, but then I realized I didn't know what to do, what I'd do when I found her. Why had Sarika done this? Was she really responsible for everything else that had happened too? If she said yes, would I believe her? If she said yes, what would I do? What do you think I want to do, Shinjo? I'll give you this. Shinjo took something out of his suit pocket and handed it to me. So it's not, I'll give you that, it's, I'll give you this. Okay. Sorry, but I looked inside it. I didn't know what might be a clue. I found it when I was searching Alba Dorm. Honestly, your family should be the only ones to read it, but the rest of the force hasn't seen it. I'm sorry. Shinjo bowed his head a little. On the front of the envelope was written, "To my beloved family," and on the back, the name Nono. Nono. To my beloved family. I opened the envelope, and there were several sheets of paper inside. They were covered with rows of neatly handwritten words. To my beloved family.
To my beloved family, I'm writing this in case something terrible happens. Thank you for everything. Everything in my room is yours to use. It would make me happy if you kept the furniture for the next person who becomes a part of our family.
Like Yuki.
Dad, I'm sorry I won't be able to help around the clinic anymore. All the paperwork I haven't finished is in the drawer in the exam room. The medical books I borrowed are on my shelf. You know, when I said I wanted to be a nurse, all you said was, "Oh, I see." I thought you might have been opposed to it, but you actually knew what I wanted to do a long time ago, didn't you? Did you hear me talking with one of the patients? Or did you just know somehow? It started with what you said when I was helping Takuru with his physical therapy. You're doing a great job for someone who hasn't gone to school. I'm impressed. I'm sure that's just the way a father is. I love the rules you made for our family. Thank you. Please don't drink too much. Yuto and Yuki, I'm sorry this is happening at a time like this. I can't make any excuses for what happened with Yui. I couldn't stop what happened. It's my responsibility. Yuto, I'm sorry for being such an obnoxious big sister. Looking back, maybe I was a little too strict.
It's so cute. We finally see their room. Aw.
You're a boy, so you probably wanted to have more freedom. Yuki, I don't think it matters how long someone's been a part of a family. What matters is how much you've seen them laugh or cry, how much you've seen of each other at your worst, how many feelings you've shared. You're Takuru's little sister. You're Yuto's big sister. Your dad's daughter. It'll be hard being the only girl, but I know you can do it. And lastly, to Takuru, I'm sorry for breaking my promise. I guess I'm a bad sister. I don't know what's going to happen, but no matter what happens, I know you'll be mad. But if something happens to me, promise me you won't think about revenge. I know she's involved, and I know you want to know why, but don't try to find out. Don't do anything dangerous. If you can, forget about your power. Make more friends at school, find a girlfriend, and be the best boyfriend you possibly can. Go on a fun date and talk about stuff that doesn't matter, like the people you always make fun of. Go out with your friends.
Why I can't go out with my friends? Both my friends are murderers. Well, we have Arimura and Kazuki, but that's basically it. All my friends are dead. I'm like the little dinosaur in the dinosaur book. All my friends are dead. Why does this always happen? Why every game is like all our friends be dead? What the fuck is wrong with games? Why? The hell? Anyway.
Go out with your friend, make new ones, I guess, and do some of those things that you always said were a waste of time. You look like you were having so much fun at the culture festival, and when you were talking with Yui and Yuto at home, every time you said you were different from everyone else, I always wondered why you had to be so stubborn. It's true you have a power that no one else has. It's true your family might be a little different. But that doesn't mean you have to get so stubborn about trapping yourself in a lonely shell.
Yes, I do, because every time I make friends, they die. Look what happens. Look what happens. Just gonna curl them in a ball under my bed and never talk to anyone.
It always seemed to me like you were afraid of being just one face among the crowd.
Now we kind of wish we were.
You were scared to think that you'd be the kind of person who wouldn't stand out.
Now we don't want to stand out, and we do.
But I don't think you are. Not to me. Even if you're doing the same things as everyone else. Because you're part of my family, and I love you. Oh, but please don't dye your hair. It would look terrible. Anyway, back on topic. Finally, I wanted to write down the one thing I'd always wanted you to know, but I couldn't. Please forgive me. When you find out, someday, somewhere, you're going to despise me and you're going to hate me. But please, never doubt my love for you. I love you. If you can believe that no matter what, those feelings are real, that's enough to make me happy.
So now now are we like both confessing to each other even after she's dead? Because again, it doesn't feel that I don't believe it, and I'm not like, oh, I saw it come. Like, no, it's like I feel like more like I feel like they want you to think she's like confessing her love, but it's more like you're family, you're my family, I love you, you know. But then it's almost like, I have to tell you because you're probably gonna hate me, but I love you. I've been in love with you. But it's not, you know what I mean? I think it's because it could just be the translation. Because, like, when you tell someone in English that you, like, I love you, there's multiple ways that could mean. There's not separate words for it. So it's like, I love my family. I might love a spouse. I love if I had kids, you love your pets, you love your friends, but it's different types. You know what I mean? I mean, generally you could be like, you have friend love, family love, romantic love, but it's all just love. And so them just like not if she's trying to say like I'm in love with you, they should have worded it a little differently or kind of worded it that way so that it was clear, because I feel like I'm supposed to insinuate that, but everything else she's writing is more like coming from a sister, a family perspective, and being like, you know, I don't know. It seems weird. And again, it's like you've never acted like, yes, you've acted, oh my God, she's so frustrating. And sure, later on, maybe you develop kind of feelings. Okay, I don't like it, but I could see that. But this just fucking came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? We're on the case. My God, she's irritating me. Whatever. She's like your annoying big sister, moms you, and then all of a sudden now you're magically in love with her? What? When did you have to? Well, and I guess it's because, like, in a normal game, it'd be like, oh my God, I didn't realize this whole time that I had feelings for her. It's just all of a sudden, the girl I loved. Wait, what? Huh? We're people inside your head, and you've never even communicated that to us, so it came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like you would have had those thoughts in your head, and there would have been something prior to that to indicate that maybe you had feelings for her, aside from just being a horny teenage boy and, like, looking up every girl's skirt. I'm just saying. Like, okay. Anyway.
It's time for me to go. I'm sorry for being so selfish, Takuru. And I'll say it one more time, but don't think about revenge. Don't do anything dangerous.
You can't tell me what to do. You're dead.
Forget everything and live the same life as everyone else does, but don't get buried among the crowd.
Nah.
I pray that you never read this letter.
November 3rd, 2015. No. Huh? Tears started to pour from my eyes as soon as I finished. I tried to wipe them away, but they wouldn't stop. And I kind of really hope they don't try to do that. Like, he was in love with her, because then it cheapens the family thing that, like, you should be, like, crying and upset because she was your family and, like, you didn't really make sure she knew how much you appreciated her as part of your family. You know what I mean? Because you were like, whatever, oh my God. And, like, angry and upset, and you never really admitted that you kind of forgave her because you hadn't figured that out yet. And then you're going to rip all that away and just be like, no, but he was in love with her. Well, there's more complex feelings. Even if that was deep down underneath, you've got the more complex emotions on top. That's what you should deal with. Don't just throw those away like they don't matter anymore, because those matter more, you know? You didn't have time to develop, like, true, deep romantic love. Don't cheapen it, game, you know? This, if he's coming at this in, like, she was a member of my family, she was a friend, a sister, you know, and maybe somewhere deep down, something more, okay, but, like, just on that surface level, and he couldn't save her, like, all of those things that he should be feeling, all that anger and pain he should be feeling about that, and the fact that, like, yeah, I got mad at her for lying to me, but then I never told her that I wasn't really that mad about it, and I understand, and whatever. And that guilt of that, all of those are the important emotions. That's the real feeling right there, and that's why he should be having this reaction. You know what I mean? Not, I'm doing it because I was in love with her. No, fuck that. No. You know? You can't just erase all this, so... That's just my thought behind it, so, yeah. I fell to the floor holding Nono's letter in my hands. That's why he should be bawling like this. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't stop sobbing. As I cried aloud in my mind, I was apologizing to Nono over and over again. See? Yeah, right. Not being able to save her, not being a good brother, like, not telling her he forgave her, like, being a dick about the shit, like, you know what I mean? Just the normal things. November 5th, 2015, Thursday. Because you'd feel that way if anybody died, even if it wasn't murder. You'd be like, I never told them that I loved them, my family. And they're like, they knew, but I didn't say it. You know what I mean? Do they hear me on their deathbed? Same time. Frisia Incorporated.
I see. Yes, understood. Miyashiro was at the killer's house, he says.
Mose moved the phone away from her ear and relayed Shinjo's message to Kunasato. Kunasato stopped typing at her computer and grabbed the phone away from her. Shinjo, put Miyashiro on. I want to ask him something. She must not have liked the answer she got back because she looked annoyed. Then bring him here as soon as you can. I have more or less finished my search of the data. I just sent you a message with the results. Give him a swift kick in the ass and tell him he can cry later. Momose arched her eyebrows. Kunasato hung up. And that was a little harsh, don't you think? It's the truth. That's not what I meant, Momose began. You know what it's like to lose someone close to you, too. Kunasato looked down as if searching her own feelings. She has feelings? Aside from anger, I mean. Feeling anger and, anger and kind of indifference. But then she looked up like nothing had happened and turned back to her computer. I only care about myself. The idea of a boy and girl who've both lost the ones they've loved consoling one another disgusts me. I don't give sympathy and I don't want it either. Can't wait for her route. Oh, wait, she doesn't have one. We don't get a path with our grumpy bitch? Man, that kind of makes me sad. I forgot. Aw. I think that sympathy is part of being kind, you know? I just figured we'd get more depth to her. You know, instead of her being like, she's a little shallow, you know what I mean, of a character. I mean, she's like knee-deep wading pool. Kazuki is literally like ankle-deep. Like, Kazuki is like no depth whatsoever. She's literally just one-dimensional. She's not even a rough sketch at this point, okay? She is like stick person. That's how much depth she has. I still love her. But you know what I mean? You at least get something with her so that you're going to get a little bit more into her. You know what I mean? I feel like just really curious about that. But Kunisato's very shallow in the I just hate people with powers and like whatever. And you're like, what is the deal with you? There was so much more to you. You know what I mean? There's so much more, but it's like we just hit the wall at knee deep. And it's like, what? But can we... And we don't get, like, kind of a path with her. And maybe we find out stuff in other ones, but it's kind of like a path with her would have been like, okay, cool. I want to know more, but this is what we get, I guess. Anyway. And I think there's nothing that pushes a person away so much as saying, I know how you feel, so hang in there. You don't have to say anything. People can just tell. Being able to do that is part of being an adult. Kunasato chuckled as she looked at the screen. I'm a minor. And the Momose chuckled too. And that's the problem, isn't it? She sighed. Oh, Arimura, you could go to sleep, you know. You haven't gotten any rest, right? Kunasato turned and saw that Arimura had gotten off the sofa. She looked like she wanted to say something, but instead she just took a deep breath. I'm fine. Anyway, what did you find? Arimura looked genuinely relieved when she heard that they'd found Miyashiro. I see. I'm glad. Arimura, have you ever heard anything about Onoe's past? Kunasato suddenly looked away from the monitor and spoke to her. You mean the past that doesn't exist because she didn't exist? Huh? Onoe's past. When she was in elementary school, for example? She was caught off guard by the sudden question, but Arimura was unable to answer quickly. Just that she was Miyashiro's friend, nothing else. She'd only gotten to know Sarika about a month ago, and all they ever talked about was the case. She didn't know a lot about Sarika's private life, because there isn't much to it. Did she ever lie about her past? It doesn't matter how small it was. I don't think so. Sari, she didn't lie very much. That was the truth. Arimura was capable of recognizing even common courtesies and jokes as lies. That's why she knew how filled with lies most people's conversations were. And that was the real reason why everything she said at school was a joke. Nothing made her more upset when she was talking about something serious and the person she was speaking with responded with a lie. That's why she told jokes. Everyone around her joked back. It was a lot easier that way. But out of all the people she knew, Ito and Sarika from the newspaper club were some of the ones who'd lied the least. They just weren't any good at it. And yet, Ito was the biggest, second biggest liar out of them all. Sarika was the biggest liar, but Ito was also lying. But to Arimura, that was a greater blessing than the others could imagine. That was why it had been such a shock. It might not have been as bad for her as it was for Miyashiro, but she felt like she'd been betrayed by someone who was more than a friend. When Kunisada realized that she wasn't going to get anything useful out of Arimura, she turned back to her computer. Are you finding anything out about her? Nothing. We're getting nowhere. She sighed and flicked the monitor with her fingers. This is a detective agency, and we've got Shinjo's network, too. Finding people and doing background checks should be the easiest thing in the world. But I can't find any information on her that dates back before middle school. The first time we see any information is November 2009, because she didn't fucking exist! Figment of our imagination! I'm just saying! Arimura gasped. That's the month of the Shibuya earthquake, isn't it? And that's when our powers ignited and we... Look, if she's somebody else's, like, figment, I'm gonna be kind of sad. I want it to be ours, but... I want to... Man, you don't know how bad I want this. More specifically, 2 weeks after the quake on November 21st, I found her records at a hospital affiliated with AH Tokyo General. But there's no data from before that. No birth certificate, no school records, not even a family register. See? She doesn't have parents! She's fucking imaginary! Is she really... Well, wait a minute now. She has the same hair and eye color as frickin' Senri. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But so then, like, Senri got out, and then what's her face? No thinks she's dead, but Sarika's really Senri. But then it's like, well, but then she really was after us because we didn't save her. But then Nona was like, no, you know, Senri wasn't mad about that. Like, but maybe she was. I mean, I don't know. But we think she was our best friend in childhood. We think she was with us. Well, okay. That could have... If she has mind control powers and she is Senri, or she just magically appeared and say she isn't a figment of our imagination, she could have put the memories in our head that we knew her in elementary school and we snuck into the thing with her because we know she really wasn't there. Okay? So that could have all, like, us, quote-unquote, knowing her could have been... And she put in our head that we carried her to the hospital and all that shit when none of that actually happened. She was just magically in the hospital. So it would make sense if she was actually Senri. You know what I mean? But... You know. But then why... Well, I mean... But Kunisada would have recognized her, I feel like. Because it was... Like, Kunisada remembers what Senri looked like right before the earthquake, and then a couple months later, when all of a sudden Sarika, oh, she's my best friend, she would have recognized her and been like, you look exactly like Senri, that's so weird. You know what I mean? Even with shorter hair. You know what I mean? This is not the Clark Kent effect here, okay? Like, your friend shows up at your house one day, like, 2 months and you haven't seen them and they cut their hair, you're not like, who are you? What? Oh my god! You recognize them! Unless they got plastic surgery on some kind of weird reality show circa the early 2000s. You know what I'm saying? Like, normally they show up at your door and you fucking recognize them after a couple months. So, like, that doesn't make any sense, but her putting the ideas in her head that she was our friend from childhood makes sense if she's actually her own real person. But I still just want her to be a figment of my imagination, even though it doesn't seem... Some things are really good. See, that makes me think that it, you know, is just supporting my theory, but so much else is not supporting it. So, yeah, I'm still just going to cling to it. I just want this one. God damn it. Anyway. And what's more, Kunisada's face took an even sterner look as she called up another medical chart. It belonged to Kuru Miyashiro. Sorry. Thanks for the meal. Don't worry. To be honest, I'm sick of this stuff. After I finished eating the calorie block, Shinjo threw the wrapper in the trash. Whenever he was running around in a case, he always kept 2 or 3 with him, he said. I ate them a lot too, so I knew what he meant about being sick of them. I ate the chocolate ones a lot. I see. I didn't know how long I'd been crying, but it was the first time I'd cried until my lungs and throat hurt. Shinjo had offered me a handkerchief and quietly waited a long time for me to finish. After I'd fallen silent and I couldn't find any new tears to wipe away with the handkerchief, my stomach suddenly rumbled. Till then I hadn't even felt like drinking water, but after a full day of no food, my body had begun to demand it. Shinjo was fiddling with his cell phone. He seemed to be checking his messages. Then he turned to me questioningly. Miyashiro, sorry, but I need to ask you something. I could tell he was asking if that would be okay. It felt like the tears were about to start again, but I held them back. I looked down at Nono's letter. I'd been holding it so hard it had gotten crumpled in my hands. Don't think about revenge. Don't do anything dangerous. I know. I'm fine, Nono. I'm not fine at all. I'm not, but I'm fine. I touched the letter as gently as I could. If that wasn't a mood, though, I'm not fine, but I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm not fine at all, but I'm fine. And then I looked at Shinjo with tear-swollen eyes and nodded. Go ahead. What is it? It's about Saraka Onoe. Kunosato, me, and Momose have all looked into her, and there's just too much we don't know. Just tell me what you remember. Give me your oldest memory of her, preferably of the time when you first met. I'm going to say this is going to be a long chapter, and then like 10 and 11 will probably go fast, but I wasn't sure how to process the complicated feelings I felt when he asked me that question. It was painful and unreal to think that my oldest friend was a killer. It made me feel furious that I'd lost my best friend and both my sisters at the same time. My best friends! Plural! Don't forget about poor Ito! Justice for Ito, man! It made me sad to think of the letter that Nono had written to me and realize that I might never feel better again. And I love how he's like, my best friend and my sisters. Just the women. We don't count Ito. Rude. Rude game. Ito fucking counts too, okay? Just because he doesn't have boobies. Yui was also like 10. Sure, she was supposed to be 14, whatever, and she was like her sister, but still, I'm just saying. Not just the women count, okay? Ito counts too. We lost both of our best friends, and our sisters, okay? We lost a lot of shit. It made me feel pathetic to realize how I didn't want to admit that Saraka Onoe was the cause of it all. I mean, we literally lost some of the people that we've known the longest in our lives. Like, yes, we have Kazuki and Artemura, but they're not as close to us as Saraka, Ito, Nono, and Yui. I mean, we have Yuto, but that poor kid's so fucking traumatized that, like, he's gonna need a lot. It all mixed together, and like a swamp that threatened to draw me down, it pulled me deeper into the abyss of my memories. When I first met Onoe... How do you know this is real? We have not come to that conclusion yet. Before I'd started elementary school. See? Are these real memories, or did we imagine her? Either way, they're not real memories. You know what I mean? I mean, we think they're real, but they were either planted by her, or we imagined her and then she didn't become real until after the earthquake when all of a sudden we got our powers. I couldn't remember the exact date. She was my next door neighbor and would come over and play a lot. Yeah, that's right. I was born in 1997, so if it was the same year I started elementary school, it would be around 2004. We played together almost every day. She was like a little sister to me. I remember that at first I'd read her picture books that I'd only just learned to read myself. And her family was a lot like mine. Right. I'll tell you about mine, though. I was an only child and both my parents worked. They both worked in an IT company back when there weren't very many of those. I think they met each other there. Work was all they cared about. It was only years later I learned that normal people didn't eat all 3 meals with a babysitter. Well, at the time I started elementary school, I started going online using one of their old computers. Ugh. Goddamn whippersnappers! I was born in 1997. Oh, I feel so old. I remember 1997. Oh. It was common for me to be up past midnight even then, but my parents didn't know. I think they didn't care. I can remember at least 2 birthdays where they just left me a present and a note saying they were sorry they couldn't make it. I guess these were the people who got married and were like, yeah, blah, 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 had sex, forgot a condom, or just had an accident and were like, fuck. And we're stuck with this thing, I guess. I'm just saying, wrap it before you tap it. Otherwise, you're going to end up being parents like this if you don't want kids. There are options. Don't have children you don't want. The year after the last one, there wasn't a present. And the year after that, there wasn't even a note. Part of the way through elementary school, I mostly stopped going. It's kind of funny that, we're so smart, we basically self-taught ourselves. No wonder we're kind of an idiot, too. I think it was 3rd grade. My mom happened to be home, so she picked up the phone when the teacher called. She looked annoyed when she talked to them. She said her husband was the one who took care of all that and hung up. She didn't tell me to go to school, or even that I didn't have to go. And Dad didn't even know the teacher's name. They're like, we have a kid? I mean, they didn't seem too worried about me in the earthquake. At the time, I'd learned online that this is what they called low-level child neglect. Sarika was the same. Actually, she was worse. She always used to tell me I was lucky because I got a card. Oh, a credit card. I didn't have a babysitter then, so I had to get my own food. In elementary school, mind you. Once I learned how to use the card, I would split the food I bought with Sarika. I don't think her parents hit her or anything either. He's like, I never remember her parents. She had it worse. She's a figment of your imagination, and you wanted someone that was worse than you. I'm just saying. Oh, there was one time she came over to my house really scared. Or that's the thought she's planting. Her parents had tried to force her to go to a hospital, she said. Now, I don't know the details, but they said all kinds of mean things about how she was crazy and how she wasn't normal. So I think it was a psychologist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist or someone who worked at a hospital like that. Which, okay, well, here's the thing. They don't know who she was before elementary school, all that. So if she is Senri or if she is a real person and she's implanting, these could actually be things that legitimately happened to her. That she's kind of implanting in our head as she's like, no, I gave those memories to you. We never knew each other, but my parents really did do all that shit. She cried a long, long time. I let her stay in my room for a while. My parents never cleaned it, and they never looked inside it. Yeah, thinking back, we were probably together all the time when I was little, because she's your imaginary friend. No, I've never met Sarika's parents. She said they were almost never home, because she's not real, and they weren't real either. I don't think I ever went to her home either. They didn't have a computer, so there was no need to go. Huh? I'm not sure. I don't think she went to school a lot. I never saw her playing with anyone but me, and we were busy finding information on the internet, so we're much smarter than... No, never mind. Yeah, okay. Again, I have a feeling the real story is she implanted all of these... Amy is the... You know what I mean? It makes sense that... But I have a hard time believing she's actually Senri because, Nono said, Senri wasn't mad about that. And she was friends with Senri. So either Senri lied to her and was pissed, or, you know what I mean? Sarika isn't really Senri. It's possible, but, that to me feels like, well, that doesn't make sense, right? But I feel like this is leaning more towards she implanted these memories in us because she has mind control. So somehow she, whatever, did this. Because if she was a figment of our imagination, and then somehow, I mean, that also makes sense too. It could be either way. She's either a real person that put these memories in her head, and that's why we don't know certain things, these certain details, because they didn't seem important. You know what I mean? We were kids, and I didn't need to meet her family, and I'm a child. I don't think about these things, right? And if we had ever questioned it, where are your parents? We should go over and meet them. Then she would have implanted memories of our parents, but we identified with her being a basically abused child like us, so why would we want to meet her parents? You know what I mean? So it could be that. Or she really is a figment of our imagination. She never existed, and that's why none of those details exist, because we were a kid, and whatever, she's just like me, and her parents, never, and she wasn't in school, whatever, I guess, because we didn't think about these things. We only imagined her in scenarios that when it was important to us, not in everyday life. You know what I mean? Because, like, think about it. If you ever just all of a sudden snap off into a daydream, right? Or if you had an imaginary friend as a kid, your imaginary friend wasn't always with you. You knew that they were imaginary because, like, oh yeah, I play with my imaginary friend at home, but like at school, I talk to real people, or maybe I don't talk to anybody. But you're not like, if people ask, you weren't like, oh yeah, no, hold on. So yeah, I met my imaginary friend's parent. You don't have that kind of level of detail. It's like they were just there to play with me when I was a kid and I was playing by myself. They're an imaginary friend. But we just don't know the difference because we were so abused and neglected that, you know? But also, after the earthquake, we could have made that, like, that could have been the wish, like, she was real, whatever. You know what I mean? And if we have telepathic powers, our telepathy might not just be like, oh, I can do telekinesis. It could actually be like telepathy, like we can make things happen. We can make things happen, right? We could have made her real somehow. And then she did exist at that point as an actual person somehow. We're all now, because we have the ability to create those delusions that people share, right? And then, because then it's like, my thought process is, if she was a figment of our imagination that we made real, why would she be doing all that? Well, she knows when we were a kid and she was a figment of our imagination, she always did the things that we needed her to do. You know what I mean? She was there for us. She came over and played with us. Like, we were there to, like, she was a mental, emotional support, and we protected her because we couldn't protect ourselves in a way. You know what I mean? And now she's protecting us, or, oh God, we're so much better than we can solve these cases. Oh, and then she's creating this case for us to solve. But also, if we made her into even a delusion where everyone can see her, you know what I mean? Like, so that to the point where she exists, where Nono and Serica went off and went shopping together by themselves, we somehow manifested her into a real person where now we don't control her. You know what I mean? And so it's not like we're kind of the murderer, but also maybe not. You know what I mean? She's now her own freaking being, killing people that it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. You know, I created her because I needed something, and then maybe there was a part of us that was in a way always controlling what she was, or she's got our psychic powers. So she knows exactly what we need, but then she's like literally crazy and now killing our family. And we're like, wait, what? That's not what I wanted. Like, you know, I mean, be kind of genius. I'm sure it's not going to be that. It's going to be like she's really Senri, or she's just someone, and then she planted these thoughts in her head. But I like the idea that we created her, that this is really all our fault, and we kind of are the murderer. It's really indirectly, I am the murderer because I created the murderer. You know? He's so good! Anyway. When we were in 4th grade, 2 years before the earthquake, we heard a rumor about Amy, an urban legend. We both went to the basement in the hospital to look for it. Yes, AH Tokyo General Hospital. I know that, like, I rambled on a lot and this part did not get much done, but we're, like, at an hour, so I'm going to stop before we go too far here. And we'll continue on the hospital part in the next part. Oh my God. I just have so many thoughts as we get to this point. This is why it's going to take 60 hours to play this game, because this chapter probably could have taken 2 hours to play, and it's going to take 8 because there's just so much. I have so many thoughts. But anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.